Welcome to another edition of, about that. Yeah, that was a goofy title. Not sure what I was thinking there. Sometimes I don't think. At any rate, I was at GOG.com. Special note, I am in no way affiliated with GOG, Good Old Games. I just want to share my love of gaming. And right now they have a sale on. It's the holiday sale. And among those games is The Witcher, the enhanced edition, the director's cut, no less. The director's cut, of course, will include content that wasn't available in the standard edition, or the enhanced edition for that matter. The sale is quite incredible. Regularly, the game isn't that expensive anyway, just €8. Here, it's 85% off, which is $1.19 USD. I think that'd be right around $1.50, maybe. Of the three Witcher games, this one has the greatest Slavic spirit, I would say. It feels very Slavic, feels very, very Polish, which it should. This is at one time The Witcher was a source of national pride for Poland. It still is, at least the books are. I'm not so sure about the game and CDPR anymore. However, that's a whole other story. We won't get into that. Of the three games, Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 had the best alchemical design to them. You had to go out and find ingredients and then, brew your concoctions. Witcher 3, all you have to do is find one thing one time and you'll never have to find it again to put it in your inventory, which totally defeats the whole purpose behind creating your concoctions, elixirs, and whatnot. Just makes it way too easy. We will be reviewing The Witcher 3 at a later date. I will say, of the three games, The Witcher Enhanced Edition, Director's Cut, whatever you want to call it, is the one that has aged the worst by far, graphically speaking. It was amazing at the time what CDPR was able to do with BioWare's Aurora engine, which is the engine that the Witcher Enhanced Edition uses. That said, graphics aren't everything. In fact, they make up just a little bit of what makes a game viable and what makes it great. Yeah, pretty graphics are wonderful, but they don't really determine whether a game is great or not. That would be the story. As far as an RPG goes, what choices you're given that make a difference, what impact you can make on the character, and how well you can define your player character. Yeah, these screenshots, they don't look too awfully horrible. They're definitely dated. I don't think I played The Witcher since 2012, maybe. So it's been a while. When the last time I tried to play it, which was when The Witcher 3 came out, I was going to play Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 back to back to play 3. Thinking that my choices in 3 might come into play a little more than what they did. And at that time, I was not able to complete a run through. There was, I don't remember exactly what the bug was, but I couldn't complete the game. Having said that, I do want to call attention to GOG's preservation program. It's a special program that GOG has implemented, and they help preserve good old games and make sure that they can run on modern systems, which is just fabulous. I haven't given this a try yet. I probably will. There are many things that I enjoyed about the Witcher Enhanced Edition. The game mechanics left a lot to be desired, but that's true of virtually every game CDPR has ever done. But the cool thing about the combat in this game was you had different attacks that you could do. And I'm not sure if they're mentioned in here. But yeah, you had 3 different kinds of swords attacks you could do. You could do, what was it? I think it was a light attack and a defensive attack and a heavy attack, depending on the types of enemies that you were facing. And that's another strength of The Witcher 3. Or not The Witcher 3. That's another strength of The Witcher 1. The types of enemies that you run into are quite varied. Unfortunately, they're fairly simple in how they attack. They're scripted. And once you figure out their behavior, they become fairly easy to beat. Game difficulty has never been a strength of CDPR's either. The strength of CDPR thus far has been the developer's ability to tell a very compelling story. And that's the main strength of CDPR, and hopefully that remains true today. The studio has undergone a lot of changes since even just Cyberpunk. They've gone public, they're not private anymore. And I believe they went public right before Cyberpunk, which inadvertently impacted Cyberpunk. But anyway, I'm getting off on little tangents here, and I don't mean to. Let's get back to The Witcher Enhanced Edition. So yeah, in this one we were introduced to Geralt, and I don't know that I would call the Geralt in this game charismatic, but the Geralt in this game is the one who best reflects the Geralt in the books. That's for sure. Not just visually, but in his behavior and attitudes. And at the beginning of this game, Geralt doesn't know who he is. It's the old memories been lost trope that was prevalent in role-playing games for a while. And it has a non-linear storyline, and it really has good tactical action. You have to be careful in how you prepare for fighting later, especially early on. Early on when you're not very leveled up, Witcher Enhanced Edition is quite challenging. And of the 3, yeah, there are several things that I like about the first game. That's the tone of the world, the visceral nature of the world, and it's very dark, it's a very adult story, a little simplistic, but you can't really fault the story of this game. And yeah, with that said, I would highly recommend this game at €8, let alone, never mind just €1.19. It's a fun game, and one that's definitely worth playing. And I'm glad that GOG has taken steps to make this game playable on modern systems. I'm not sure how it would do on consoles, to be honest with you. I quit using consoles right before I started playing The Witcher. It shows my age as a gamer, but hey. Well, if I remember correctly, this trailer was quite good, especially for the time. But then CDPR has always been really good at trailers, and they are that company. They're the masters of hype. They really are. They know how to get out trailers that just get you amped up. Problem is their games rarely live up to the hype, but that's another story for another day. With all that said, let's watch the trailer and see what The Witcher has to offer. Yeah, very cool. Very cool trailer. That's been recut from the original. This might be the original. Let's go ahead and check it out. Hopefully this is the original trailer, which I think is probably superior to that really quick cut that we just saw. Yeah, far better trailer. Not even close. That would give you an idea about the game. It really doesn't reveal too much about the story. And the story is, it's a pretty simple one, but it's a cool one. Geralt is running through this forest, doesn't know why, doesn't know who he is. He stumbles across Kaer Morhen, where he meets people that he knows. He hasn't completely lost his memory. He's lost a considerable portion of it, if I recall correctly. But yeah, it's about him trying to rediscover who he is. And the role-playing options in The Witcher Enhanced Edition are really well done, especially for for an action RPG. So, long story short, it's a compelling story with a lot of twists. You'll have two different options as far as who you can romance. Triss, who is a sorceress, and Shawnee, who is a medic. Both very different. You'll have a lot of romantic, well, no, I wouldn't call them romantic encounters. You'll have a lot of sexual encounters, let's put it that way, which use a fade to black mechanic. And you can hear things that are going on, and you get these things called sex cards, which are, I don't know about their implementation. They were pretty unique at the time, and some of them were really well done. And very nice pieces of digital art. Probably haven't aged too well, but still, it was an interesting creative decision. Let's put it that way. And yeah, in a lot of ways, The Witcher is adult in ways that Witcher 3 would never dare approach, which is interesting. Come to think of it, The Witcher was very European in its attitude towards sex and nudity, as was The Witcher 2. And unfortunately, with The Witcher 3, CDPR backed off of that and bowed to the puritanical pressures that come from the backwards United States, backwards in its attitudes towards sex and nudity. It's very immature in that way. And hey, I'm an American. Relocated to Europe about 10 years ago, so I have the right to say that. I can criticize my own country if I want. And there I go. I was about to go off on another little side tangent. I will not, however. The playing time for this game, right around 64 hours if you're a completionist, which I definitely am. I always like to do everything that I can possibly do in a game. So if you find yourself wanting a different flavor of an RPG, even a different flavor of an action RPG, The Witcher Enhanced Edition will certainly address that. It's a viable game. It will take a little bit to get used to how poorly it's aged. Thanks to GOG, though, you should not run into any issues as far as playing it on a modern system. And, for a €1.20, how can you go wrong? Or $1.50, whatever it converts to in USD. So, all that said, I hope you've enjoyed this little review of The Witcher Enhanced Edition. This episode is, of course, part of the About That series. If you have not, please like and subscribe. And I wish you happy gaming. The link for this page will be in the description, of course. Come on, coffee. Kick in.